So this is day, I just gave birth about 24 hours ago. Maybe 5 or 6 hours after his birth, I suffered a pretty massive postpartum hemorrhage. So I was bleeding very heavily, more heavily than was normal. They started to calculate the amount of blood I was losing, and yeah, it was quite a lot. I ended up losing about half my blood volume, so it became a matter of needing to take me down to theatre, which happened late last night. I think it was about 9 p.m. by the time I actually got to theatre. And that was scary. I have to admit, I was really scared. At one point I was actually sobbing as they were taking me down the hall, and I said, please don't let me die because I want to see my children grow up. So it was really frightening. It was very frightening to see so much blood coming out of me, and I swelled up really bad too. So I was taken down to theatre. I was put under a general anaesthetic this time, unlike the Caesar, which was just the spinal. And then Dr. Sem put a balloon into my uterus. And what that does is it pushes against your uterus and kind of forces your uterus to contract. So that was my problem. I had a lazy uterus, so it just wasn't contracting properly. And so that's why I just kept bleeding and bleeding. And Dr. Sem said that a lot of clots were building up in my uterus. And he said it was a vicious cycle. So the clots build up, that sort of prevents your uterus contracting properly. Your uterus not contracting properly helps more clots build, and so on and so forth. So I was taken down there. I was very relieved when I woke up from the anaesthetic because I really was scared of dying there for a minute. It was frightening. But I woke up from the anaesthetic. I was brought back up to my room here. Spencer's in the Special Care Nursery. We can see him though, and we're actually going to go and see him in a second. But it is very hard, the recovery after a postpartum hemorrhage. So I've got a catheter in. I've also got a tube in that's still draining the blood from my uterus because, of course, bleeding is very normal after pregnancy. But the level of bleeding I was experiencing was too much, so it had to be stopped. So look, it has been a really, really rough, I've got to admit, 12 hours. I'm bedridden. I have to be wheeled around in a wheelchair. I can't stand up properly still on my own. In fact, I can't stand up on my own at all. My legs feel weak. I feel dizzy. I feel nauseous. I am on some pain relief, but not much. Like, thankfully, it's, it makes me a little bit nauseous, but it's not too bad. I didn't want too much pain relief because it does make you feel really sick. And so that's how I'm sort of managing. It is so frustrating though, because I've got a drip in as well. They've just taken the drip out now just so that I'm not too encumbered when I go and see Spencer. But I've usually got a drip in as well, and it is actually difficult, this phase of it, feeling like you're immobile and all of that. But look, it's just a small challenge. We got through. Spencer and I have both survived our experiences. He's doing well, and I can't wait to go and see him. We're going to give him a bottle of donated breast milk, because that's the other thing. All the trauma has delayed my breast milk coming in, even though I fully intend to breastfeed. The midwives have helped me express some colostrum. So he's already had 2 serves of my colostrum, which is really good. And now we're going to give him some donor breast milk because he's been receiving glucose so far for his blood sugar levels to raise them up. And he also suffered hypothermia after the birth too, so that's why he's been in a humidity crib. So let's go and see our precious baby boy, and I just cannot wait to have him in my arms because, like I said, I've won the lotto.